So, after consuming all this, there's nothing I can be more sure of than one, okay? I don't know what's going to happen to the US. I don't know if, Kamala Harris's campaign could have been better. I don't know if Joe Biden was awake throughout this process or was he taking a nap. I don't know if this is the best thing for the US and the world. But I do know that because of Trump's re-election, there will be many comedians' careers that are launched or relaunched in the next 5 years.
I'm sure you've seen something on social media or read an article about the awesome work done by the Singapore Civil Defence Force, right? You know, from heroic rescues to overseas missions, they do some amazing work. So if you want to do work that also impacts the lives of people, why not consider a career with them? Think about it. You'll be saving lives while being at the forefront of innovation and technology. You'll be improving emergency response systems with cutting-edge tools, joining international humanitarian efforts, and collaborating with a huge range of organizations, all to strengthen community emergency preparedness. And if you want to hear from someone in SCDF, listen to our Yalla Butt podcast episode 566 with Sergeant Gina, a paramedic who is also an emergency medical service section commander. She's got an amazing story. See, in 2023, she volunteered to go to Turkey to provide medical aid to civilians after a magnitude 7.8 earthquake rocked the country. She describes the heart and soul of her life-saving work and tells us how her grandmother inspired her to choose this career path. To watch the episode, check out the link in the description. And to find out more about careers with SCDF, visit their interactive site, scdfcareers.sg. And now, on to the podcast. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yalla, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Rishi?
Some good old humor, partner.
Good old humor, man. What was that about, man?
Partner? I don't know why I felt like calling you partner, given we've got a new president in the United States.
Yeah, but first we have to do some banter and not talk about serious stuff yet.
I apologize for that.
How are you, Rishi?
I'm all right. Trump will fix it. Okay, sorry. Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you very much for having me, man. Real honor. Always good to be the number 2 Cindy in this ballroom.
Yeah.
I mean, in this recording studio.
It's been only like a month and a half since you were last on Yalla Butt, right?
It's been, man. Yeah, the last time I was with Terrence and we had a really good conversation.
When I was away. Now Terrence is away. Yeah. So welcome back to Yalla Butt, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
What's new with you, man?
Wow, what's new? I just wrapped a bunch of live shows in the theater playing elderly Cindy uncle.
The show which Terrence and I went to see.
You did? Thank you very much for attending.
Yeah, I think it was our one Shiok Thing for that. The day after we went to see.
Thank you for attending, man. Yeah.
And how many shows did you do?
We eventually did a total of 6 shows over the week. Yeah. We had some really cool audiences in. We had random Cindy aunties who've never been in a theater before suddenly coming to the show. We had people who've never been to a comedy show before coming to expect Rishi Budhrani do a stand-up comedy show, but it was something a little different than my regular stand-up shows.
Which is what? Maybe for those new listeners who were not aware of what your show was about.
This was a one-man show, which was a combination of storytelling, a bit of comedy, a bit of improvisation, and a little bit of good old humor. But it was. I would classify it a bit more as a dramedy. That's what I was thinking when I was conceptualizing and writing it.
Would you classify it as a monologue? Monologue, right?
So, what happens in Singapore, I will share, is that stand-up comedians don't really get grants from the government because we are clowns. That's how we are. They look at us as jokers.
Yeah.
You can't rock up to NAC. And I stand corrected, if NAC is listening in and you want to give me a grant, I'll accept it.
Yeah.
But sometimes if you say you're a stand-up comedian, and I was told this anecdote very early on by another person who was applying for grants as a comedian. It's like, you all can make money in the clubs. You all can go tell jokes in the club, so you don't need grants. Grants are for artists, What are you doing, man? What's it?
What you're doing is not art, essentially.
It's like you're a joker. So sometimes you have to call your show a comedic monologue to give it a more artistic spin in life. So
Because
now suddenly I'm more artistic if I'm not doing just.
that's what a stand-up comedy set is like. It's a monologue.
Yeah, but in the in the SOP book, they don't have that link yet. So my work maybe now is more classified as art, lah. Hopefully one day they can.
But this is not like what you said, not your regular stand-up comedy show.
It is not. It is not. It was actually first a show commissioned by the Esplanade for a festival called Kala Utsavam, which was the Indian Festival of Arts. This was back in 2022, where they were generous enough to go like, hey, we want to commission your work. We saw a snippet of it. During COVID, I did a 15-minute version of this thing for a very small festival. With it was like a Tamil and English theatre festival. And somehow the people involved in Esplanade happened to watch that. And when I pitched them this show, they're like, oh my God, yeah, we saw this before. Are you saying you're going to turn it to a full, 1 hour plus experience? I'm like, yeah, I can do that if you are okay with it. They're like, yeah, we saw the 15-minute version. We loved it. We think it's got legs. Go forth and play. So they commissioned the first version of it, and I'm very grateful. Back in 2022. And then we reran it this time, a bit different, a bit more polished, I'll say. I had more time to kind of sit on the script and work on things I want to keep and what I want to change. So, yeah, man, we had a decent run. I put on a bit of weight for the character. Had to
because you were playing your dad.
I was playing my dad. Yeah, I had to play.
So you put on weight for the character.
That's what I tell people,
Yeah.
I just let myself go because I was like, hey, I have to play a Cindy uncle. And my co-director, my producer, Angie, she kept saying during the rehearsal process, like, you know what, Rishi, you are looking too fit. I'm not believing this and everything. So I didn't feel like, she's like, maybe we need to pad you up or everything. I was like, don't worry, I got this.
You got this.
I just whacked some samosas and pakoras and lowered my pants a bit, let my gut hang out a little bit.
Hunch your back a bit.
A bit more, yeah. Just kind of act lah. What I'm supposed to do, just act. So yeah, man, it was a fun time. I really enjoyed the process. I think we all grew through it, and I got a lot of positive love from the audience, and I'm grateful.
Yeah, are you planning to do another run of it?
I think this is one of those stories that is not just timely, but also timeless, because it goes back a lot into the past, and I do believe that it will have legs 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. So I do plan to keep revisiting it because a lot of people, they say, we missed it. We want to bring our elderly parents or grandparents or what. And I think it's one of those stories that can help young people reconnect with their roots and take older folks down a journey of a story that maybe is not told enough.
Yeah. And that story being like the Sindhis coming to Singapore.
The Sindhis coming to Singapore, the Sindhis building their lives, trying to maybe understand why Sindhi people get the bad rep that we do. There's a lot of stereotypes about Sindhi folks. Okay, for the listening audience, the Sindhi community is a very small dialect and sect of the larger North Indian community.
And from a community from which both Rishi and I hail from.
That's right, man. Yeah, taking over the world one podcast at a time. So there's a lot of stereotypes about how they're very miserly. They like to bargain. They like to negotiate a lot. They have you can't really trust them when you do business with them. There's a lot of these silly things that come about, and I think part of my journey was to try to explore and understand why that is. And it took me back to the roots of who these people are and what happened to them when they were starting out their lives in modern history.
Yeah. I mean that was interesting because it helped me also understand a bit more about my background. But looking at the people I went with, including Terrence, including some other friends, everybody liked it. So congrats on that.
Thanks, man. No, I appreciate it. I appreciate all the love.
Yeah.
Now back to doing dick jokes and
back to being a joker lah.
To being a joker lah. Doing some dirty jokes in clubs.
Yeah.
All the way, man.
Speaking of jokers, I guess we can jump into the first topic.
Go for it, man.
It's been something that's been on the world's radar for the past few days. It is the US presidential election.
Yeah, man.
Wow. So, Rishi, how much were you keeping track of it?
I would say I was peripherally keeping abreast of the developments.
Mm.
Partially because I think of late I became very jaded with so much news that's coming out.
Mm.
And I think we were just trying to wrap our heads around this a little bit, because there's no, in my opinion, right now, news channel in the US with no agenda.
Mm.
It's very clear Fox News has, if you see the same set of facts are presented in a very Republican Trump slant on Fox News, for example. And if you see the same bit of news is presented with very democratic, very Kamala Harris slant on CNN. That's what I've been seeing. So after a while, right, I only read CNA because I feel like, CNA doesn't really have a stake in the game, and I respect them as a news channel for the fact that they don't, in my opinion and understanding at least, they don't go out there to clickbait you. Sometimes the news is a bit slower than all the other channels, but I think that's just good journalism in that you're taking the time to verify the facts and, check and double check to make sure that, okay, this is really happening. This is really it. What's the angle we're going with here that's factual and fair for our news readers? I got a bit jaded by the misinformation, and I think this presidential election was a lot of a war of misinformation on a lot of fronts.
I know us speaking about the US presidential elections, we're not in the best position to talk about like the deep dive political analysis.
Absolutely
but then
not. Yeah.
What I think we can talk about is the POV of a Singaporean person. So you are saying that from watching the US news, you got very jaded and you fell back on CNA.
A bit of that, that happened after a while.
But don't you think that whole misinformation thing has been going on for such a long time? Isn't it part of consuming news in general?
It is. And you see, for example, yourself and myself, for being from the media industry, for example, and to a certain degree, having some kind of journalistic understanding of how news works. There are some news channels with an agenda. There are some, you got to fact check your sources. Where is this coming from? Where's the money coming from? Who's funding this entire outfit? And then based on that, you decide how much you want to believe from them. Maybe that's a more informed way of consuming news. But majority of the population doesn't have the benefit of that knowledge or that training or that analysis. So most people, including some elderly family members, they'll just forward WhatsApps to you. Like, oh yeah, I read earlier on in the thing, there was a whole joke about how Trump was accusing the immigrants of eating the children. I think he was referring to the
pets.
Eating
the children.
Sorry, eating the pets.
Oh, see, misinformation here.
See, this is even worse.
Yeah, eating the pets.
Creating something. They're eating our dogs. I think something, right?
Yeah.
And then that caught on, and people are like, "Hey, what's going on, man? Are they really?"
Oh, so you cannot forward that?
Yeah, some people forwarded that nonsense to me. I mean, where I guess when I first hear, I'm like, okay lah, this is just Donald Trump being Donald Trump lah, But then some people are like, hey, they are eating the dogs, eating the cats. Hey, better be careful. Yishun also got, eating. They also they eat. Like, hey, hello, relax. So, after consuming all this, there's nothing I can be more sure of than one, okay? I don't know what's going to happen to the US. I don't know if, Kamala Harris's campaign could have been better given she actually only started campaigning so late in the game. I don't know if Joe Biden was awake throughout this process or was he taking a nap. I don't know if this is the best thing for the US and the world. But I do know that because of Trump's re-election, there will be many comedians' careers that are launched or relaunched in the next 5 years.
Why?
Because he's going to give everybody so much content and so much fodder to create material on.
Yeah.
The Daily Show, for example, for many years during that time, SNL during that time was thriving, at least from what kind of content was coming out that I was seeing. Because Trump would always give them something new to make fun of. And I do think that that we're going to see that golden age of comedy again, maybe at the expense of the well-being of the world.
But from your, I mean, you know comedians in the US also, right?
Mm-hmm.
During the previous Trump administration or Biden's administration, like how did they see the president? Do they typically swing more left or swing right?
I think of late my observation has been that you will find a lot more right-leaning comedians coming up as well. But traditionally, I think stand-up comedy being
left, right?
The genre that it is, it's about kind of speaking truth to power. It is about calling out the
inequalities and like
inequalities and also the incompetencies of the government power and politicians and all that. So I think traditionally it's very left leaning. Now, when I was on tour in the States and when I was going around the comedy clubs, you do see a lot more diversity in the voices. And I think stand-up comedy is that now, especially in this time, it is one of those art forms where everybody is represented. Regardless of your political leanings, you will see some kind of representation in the clubs.
I see.
Yeah, maybe not everyone makes it out commercially, or maybe not everyone blows up. But if you move around different comedy clubs in the US, you will find that there's a very vast variety of viewpoints that are represented.
And the last time you were in the US was when?
August 2023, just a bit over a year ago.
I don't know whether Trump had announced that he was running by then, but I think people kind of knew already.
I think that, I'm trying to recall what the situation was then, because when I went, it was a different challenge that the US was facing, because that was when the writer's strike was happening.
Oh.
So
August 2023 was still a writer's strike.
That's July. I spent the whole of July there and I left in August. So it was around that period where definitely there was nothing much being created. So the comedy clubs were full because all these folks who would otherwise be like, I did a comedy club where John Oliver was there testing material.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it was a nice surprise.
Political.
Yeah, very political. Nothing to do with Trump though, I remember. But he just went out there and did 15 minutes to test some jokes.
Shit, John Oliver?
Just to go there and shit on Americans.
So then like bringing back to this with the election and all, right? Like because I've been thinking a lot about how this makes me think about politics or even Singapore politics, right? That has it kind of like made you think about, not say the future of the US or something, but how this could have happened, watching from afar, of course, how it seemed like, Kamala had a big wave behind her, when she came on and all. I don't know whether you had any informal guess, like betting with your family, of course, like not money or anything, like just predictions, like who would be the president.
Not my family, bro.
But amongst friends or anything?
No, I don't think anyone. I don't know. I mean, maybe it was a bit insular in this part of the world, but not that I was directly involved in. I knew of some people who were like, if Kamala Harris loses, I'm going to have to. One of the comics told me I'm going to have to buy my dad dinner, or I'm $100 down because he expects Trump to win and all that. I mean, I heard of that, but I wasn't directly involved.
Because anecdotally, with some family and all, we took an estimate, and it was quite unanimously Trump. And I just thought that, and not to say who we wanted to win, who we thought were going to win, but I just thought, okay, in 2016, generally people thought Hillary was going to win, then Trump won. So now maybe people think Trump is going to win, it might be Kamala. But in the end, I lost.
Yeah.
Because it ended up being Trump.
I don't know, man. Now, this time, it's not so surprising. I think that's the general vibe I get. Nobody's like, what? Donald Trump?
But why? Because I'm assuming, at least people from Singapore, there's only so much that you might, dive into the news over the past few months.
Sure.
But why was it not surprising to you?
I think because when it happened the first time, it was, I think you kind of got all that shock out of your system. Everybody was already shocked. Like, what? Wait, what? Did this just happen? Did this guy just do this? And then once he did it, you're like, okay, America is capable of anything.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised anymore.
But don't you think that, okay, when he got nominated in 2016, no one knew what a Trump presidency would look like.
Sure.
And then he lost.
Yeah.
And I think certain things that I remember reading about this election. I think both of them, both Kamala and Donald Trump, had approval ratings of below 50%. I think when he left the presidency and when she announced herself as running for presidency, her administration had less than 50%. So if either of them got elected, I think it'd be the first time that someone did that.
With less than 50%
of the popular
approval.
vote. Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Of the approval, not popular vote. Then also, I think the last president to be president, lose, and then come back happened like 180 years ago.
Yeah, I read that.
So that was also a first for Trump. And then if Kamala Harris got voted in, she would have been the first female president. So a lot of things would have been surprising anyway.
Everything would have been a first. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
A lot of things would have been like never happened before.
And it's almost 2016. It felt like, okay, people were so sick of whatever was happening. Let's just try Trump. You know? But then now, for him to be nominated again, it means that there's a whole bunch of people who actually saw those 4 years as like, you know what? We kind of know what we're going to get. Let's do it again.
At least we know what we're getting into.
Yeah.
I think there's a sense of that, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how good it will be and how bad it will be, but
does it make you think about Singapore politics differently?
Singapore, I don't know, man. No, it doesn't make me think about Singapore politics differently at all. I think we have a bit more of a predictable electorate. Thus far. I stand corrected if something major happens. I mean, we haven't even announced the next elections, but by all observations, it does seem like 2025 will be the year of this next elections coming up. And I don't think the country will drastically change in the next year, again, unless something really drastic happens. But I think we have a fairly... you can understand a little bit more in terms of the electorate that we've got, what they want, what they don't want. There's a bit more of homogeneity in the people of Singapore when it comes to politics.
But you mean not when it comes to other things?
No, I don't think so. We are such a diverse rojak nation.
True, but it almost feels like, okay, so bringing it back to politics again, like for me, it makes me think about it in a way. Because I saw one commentator on some video I watched talked about how now US politics is less about left and right. It is more establishment versus change.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which I thought was like, actually, it's true because if you think about like what liberals were in the 60s, 70s, they wanted free speech. They wanted, competing ideas as opposed to, like saying what's wrong or right. But then now it's like the Democrats feel less liberal. So when the person classified it like that, I was like, hey, actually, that's an interesting way of thinking about it. And then when you look at just certain high-level analysis of Trump and Kamala in the lead-up, right, it almost felt like things that were happening to Trump was really in his favor, almost the being tried as a felon.
The assassination.
Yeah. And it's like he was bulletproof, literally and figuratively. And almost like it became so emotional that people were cared less about what he said, but more about what he represented. And Kamala Harris, people, again, like they cared less about what she said and more like what she represented. So then, of course, this is a big stretch. But when I look at Singapore, right, I think like there is the establishment. And I think it's can be very dangerous to write off what people are feeling now towards the establishment.
Sure.
And also, the current trial going on with them. I mean, now it's in its third week or something. I think the longer these kind of things go, it almost feels like you care less about the facts, then it becomes emotional. With the whole NTUC Alliance thing, after enough of that bullshit, it becomes less about the facts, it becomes emotional. So that's where I feel like American politics now is less about the facts and is very emotional. So then I'm thinking, shit, if Singapore goes down that path, it's fucking dangerous, man.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it. Like, I mean, if people start voting not based on what they actually think will happen to the country, but just based on, like you say, passion and emotion. And all that.
I think that has probably been the case for voting for a long time already. But now it's becoming so charged that, it's... I think Singapore is still a far cry from that. But,
if we don't take care of it or approach it the right way you are concerned, it might end up in that position.
Yeah, I mean the risk is there because it's happening in other countries around the world. So the far right and the alternative right are getting more traction in other governments as well. So you look at Singapore, I'm like, I think Singapore's still very different. But when you make your jokes about politicians and all in Singapore,
Yes.
go any deep down feeling that you're making too much fun of them or something.
Politicians.
Yeah, when you do that thing on Instagram where you
joke about
the government civil servants and all that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think. Oh, wow, I may have said this before, but I'll say this again. Politics is a very thankless job. It's a very thankless business, regardless of whether
you can go one night in Doha.
Wow, I see what you did there, bro. Thankless in that, if you're doing something right, nobody is going to come and say, hey, well done now, you. Well done now. All of you. Good job. Good job. Good job. But the moment you make one mistake, right, the whole country is going to come and pounce on you because, hey, you are elected. You are in this position. You're supposed to do things right. Nobody's going to come and say thank you, if the trains are working. Nobody's going to come and say thank you, if the country is okay. But you better don't screw it up. The moment you screw up, you're going to say, hey, what's going on? Hello. And I think that's the case for politics around the world. So for me, as a comic, whether it's a politician from the ruling party or whether it's a politician from the opposition party, I see it as fair game. If there's something that I want to talk about or I feel like, as a citizen, I can discuss in a humorous way, I don't hold back.
You don't hold back.
I don't hold back. I don't feel bad also. No, come on. Feel bad for... Hey, hello. We need to feel bad for the passengers that have had their train rides taken away. That's who we gotta feel bad for. Bringing it back to the previous episode, okay?
Where people call you an elitist person with
no
compassion.
Hello, just because I'm on the Thomson East Coast line doesn't make me elitist, okay? I didn't choose to have a working train line. Okay, guys.
But the context is the last podcast that you came on with you and Terence.
Yes.
People were shitting on you for not empathizing with the people who suffered from the MRT breakdown.
See, I'm still laughing. You know what? I'm laughing because it's. I think everybody has their fair share of struggles. Not just the person who whose train is delayed. So many things that are difficult in life, But we don't have to. My point is that
that's making you sound worse, Because then you're just saying they're a bunch of whiners.
Not all.
Not all.
Some of us are. We all, come on, you and I are whining on this podcast right now.
Correct. That's our livelihood, essentially.
That's what we do, man. Come on, we're complaining people. In fact, I knew of this uncle who told me that he was having issues in his block. Okay, he was having issues in his block, and every time he would write a letter to the town council, they ignore him. Ignore, until one day, he used ChatGPT to write a letter of complaint. And suddenly his issue was solved. Suddenly they started clearing the rubbish chute even faster. So I guess my message to Singapore is that if you want...
ChatGPT.
Yeah, you use ChatGPT to make your...
Who's his uncle?
Some elderly Chinese uncle in Aljunied. If I had to... you ask me...
That you just happen to know.
Yeah. He's my cousin's neighbor, if you must know. You want me to go into details? This is my cousin's neighbor. My cousin told me the story.
What were we talking about before this?
That I have a working train line in Thomson East Coast.
Working train line.
Yeah.
No, before that also.
Politicians are fair game. Yes.
Okay.
I think, I think you can make fun of anything in this country. And you don't need to feel bad about politicians. No, come on. I think it's fine. If it's in the news, if it's something you want to talk about as a citizen, you have the right to discuss it. I feel it's fair game.
But so there's no part of you that feels that, you might affect people's perceptions of politicians or civil servants by doing this?
I don't think, I mean, I don't think I'm that influential or that powerful that, a joke that I do is going to suddenly affect the way someone thinks about, that comedian made fun of this politician. Maybe I shouldn't vote for him. I really doubt.
Because the funny thing is, now, I think I saw on Twitter and all, people are shitting on people like George Clooney.
Why?
Because he wrote an op-ed that got featured in the New York Times, I think, calling for Biden to step down. So people are now pissed off at him for being so vocal about that because they're saying, you derailed the like the democratic momentum and all. Then I'm like, what the
George
fuck are you
Clooney.
talking about?
No, but there will always see that's the thing, right? I cannot take you. We cannot take everything or everyone seriously.
Mm.
Unfortunately, that's the reality. Especially anonymous internet trolls, right? Who go out there and say things like that, like because George
Clooney wrote an op-ed.
Yeah, because like Ocean's 12 star, Ocean's 11 guy masterminded the democratic derailment of politics. No lah. I mean, can't what? I mean, similarly, if I were to do a joke about any of the politicians here and someone goes, yeah lah, because that, that
She made fun of it.
Rishi, the Indian long-faced comedian, just because he looked like opposition leader, he make fun of it. I get all this nonsense, bro. I get so much nonsense on the internet. People calling me like a foreign. I've been called a foreigner who is trying to meddle with Singaporean politics before.
Oh, really? Yeah?
Yeah.
I've been called foreigner multiple times. Told to go back to my village also.
Yeah. And you should, by the way. At some point. It's Ulhas Nagar in Bombay.
That's true.
I'm going back next week. But just to visit. I'll come back to Singapore.
And meddle in our issues.
And I'll continue meddling in Singaporean politics issues. No, but I think as citizens working in living in a healthy democracy, I think democratic discourse is important. I think open democratic discourse is healthy. But at the same time, going back to what we started talking about, being aware of what sources are, being aware of where news and where information and where opinions are coming from, that is just as important. So if you're an informed citizen, you can understand that, okay, this is the spectrum of information that's coming to me on various media, right? Okay, whether it is, maybe to me, the highest level of this kind of information is, factual, credible news sources. That is your facts. Then if you have an op-ed from a reliable news source, whatever you think your definition of reliable.
Not George Clooney.
Not George Clooney lah. I mean, to me, that's not, what is George Clooney's expertise there? I don't know, right? Yeah. Depends on what your level is, right? Then at the very lowest rung of this are anonymous keyboard warriors. To me, that are going to shit on anything anyone says with no accountability at all, with perhaps no positive and critical or creative, constructive contribution to this whole discourse. Just like, okay, I woke up this morning and it's time for me to figure out who I can disagree with to make myself feel better. So I think if you are, and I would encourage everybody to, learn a little bit more about the journalistic process and, become a bit more well-informed as a news and a consumer of content. Then you will be able to go like, okay, does this affect me? Is this a valid opinion? Am I bothered by this? And then you can decide whether George Clooney saying that Joe Biden should step down is affecting you or not. Don't just go and like, George Clooney, bro, come on, man. First, you do that movie, The Descendants, then you quit ER, and what's going on, bro?
I think they're just looking for ways to explain the loss.
Looking for ways to explain the loss, and I think a lot of times people are looking for someone to blame. It's very easy, right? It's very easy to go like, because of this, that's why this happened.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you cannot sleep at night. Like,
So then, like, the results of this election kind of like, are you thinking about it a lot, or you're like, it's too far away?
You mean
the presidential elections? No, the US elections.
Oh, US elections, the one thing, okay, again, if you relate it personally to immediate effect in life, one of the things that my broker told me, my finance team, my financial advisor told me.
Broker?
Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, hey, better go and refinance your mortgage because
interest rates will go up.
Interest rates are going to go through the roof because Trump is going to, whatever he's going to do, it is indicative that interest rates are going to go up in the next few years. So that was the first like immediate effect. I was like, okay, bro, let me call the bank.
But that's a very real effect. Right?
Yeah,
like this kind of things can affect.
Yeah. So maybe it's selfish, but Because there's a lot of other foreseeable problems, like now Trump is promising that he's going to continue drilling, and then, forget about this bloody green energy, what climate crisis, forget it. So those are also probably real effects that are going to affect the world, but maybe because they don't affect us directly in the near, immediate future, we are like, what can we do?
Yeah.
Call the bank and change your, refinance your mortgage first. That's what I can do. That's what's in my control right now.
Yeah.
And okay, I'll off the aircon. To
Do your part. Take the train.
Take the train, the Thompson East Coast line.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think the next few days there'll be a lot of continued commentary about the elections. I think when Terence is back next week also, we might end up talking about it again. Talking about, having reliable sources of info, right?
Yep.
To form judgments, right? There's a recent survey.
Oh boy.
Done by AsiaOne.
Okay.
Which, surveyed, I think, 1,000 plus people, 1,344 people about their satisfaction with their housing situation.
In Singapore?
In Singapore.
Oh boy.
And basically, they reveal the place where Singaporeans are least satisfied living in.
Oh boy, tell me, man. Tell me, where is this place?
So basically, it is the northeastern part of Singapore, i.e. Hougang, Punggol, Sengkang and Serangoon.
What?
So basically, of these 1,344 responses, 60% of residents in the northeast said they are unsatisfied with living there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does that surprise you? Wait, sorry, have you ever lived in that part of town before?
No, I grew up in Tampines.
Tampines, okay.
So start with the far east, and then now I live somewhere in the middle east of Singapore.
Okay.
So those are the main areas of operation.
Okay, I spent a lot of time in the Serangoon Central area because that's where my in-laws live. So when I was dating my wife, my girlfriend at the time, I used to go to that area a lot. Okay.
But then where did you grow up?
I grew up in Bedok.
Bedok. So Eastie also.
Yeah, I grew up in Bedok, spent some time Marine Parade, now back in Bedok, East Coast area.
East all the way.
East all the way. But, this survey does surprise me in one thing. That
what?
Regardless of all the hate that Yishun gets,
people
are still okay with it. So to all the Yishunites out there, hey, good on you, right? I'm proud of you for standing by your neighborhood.
No, maybe for them, you're like, fuck, everyone shitting on Yishun.
We love our place, man.
We love our place.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
Spend a day in Yishun. Actually, that could be, I think we should do a heritage trail in Yishun. I think instead of bringing kids to Little India and, Geylang and Chinatown, bring kids to Yishun. For those, those holiday school, last week of school field trips, and show them, okay, this is where the cats were abused.
This is where the cow was.
This is where the cow was brought out. This is where Halima's house used to be. Why are we not doing that? I think that'll be a great field trip to show them the real Singapore. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, now there's a place, Tengah also.
Hey, by the way, just I feel very sad about this thing, but I just want to say that if you are abusing any of these animals, you deserve a special place in hell. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
To all of you out there, you be...
Because you are a pet owner yourself, right?
I am. And I lost my pet recently, unfortunately.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, I lost my oldest dog.
Sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, man.
What happened?
She was very old. She was 16 years old. And she was a bit ill towards the end of her life.
16 years old?
Yeah, very rare, man. I mean, we gave her a good life. She was healthy and, fighting all the way. But I think towards the end, she had a bit of they call this thing called a pyometra. It's like a tumor in the uterus.
Oh, shit.
So, unfortunately, she couldn't get through those last few days.
Oh, damn.
Yep. Tough time. Yep. But shout out to anyone who's lost their pet. I feel you. I understand there's been some debate actually over whether or not, this was a bit earlier on in the year, but there was some discussion about whether losing a pet should come under compassionate time off or compassionate leave in the office. And there was some, I think, I can't remember, but it might have been Australia or one of the other countries that was discussing this. Like, hey, you deserve like a couple of days off of compassionate leave if this has happened, because people live alone. This is their family.
Yeah.
And I think that's valid to a certain extent.
So it was being discussed in Singapore.
I don't know if it was Singapore. I stand corrected, but I know it was definitely. I read something about it, but I don't have it on hand. Maybe we can find it. I don't know. But yeah, man, it's a tough time. It does take a toll on you, I think.
Yeah, it does.
Depends on how long that you've had this pet for.
I mean, the only pet I've ever had was a terrapin when I was young.
Okay.
But just for like 2 months. And then we released it into the school pond.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least you educated your terrapin. You were one of those pets.
Sent to a good school. Good school. Yeah, good school.
Every school
now
is
doing
a good
well.
school.
Yeah, doing
Every
well.
School is a good school.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Some schools just gooder than the others.
Araya. Your therapy from Araya.
Right. This is my primary school opposite my house. Tampines. But yeah, so I mean, back to this survey,
yes.
So even though the stat was that 60% of the people living in the Northeast are not happy, even if you look at the so-called more popular places like Queenstown, Marine Parade and Kallang, 53% also say they are unsatisfied.
Oh really?
Yeah. So one Kallang resident said he rates living in his 4-room flat in Jellicoe Road a 5 out of 10.
Why? Then move lah, bro. Alamak.
Hey, not that easy to move lah.
I mean, I understand. Okay, look, I understand. But then how can, maybe it's more, let's work with you, Jericho. Jericho?
That's the name of the road.
Oh, sorry.
Jellicoe.
But how can, maybe the question is, how can it be better for you?
So first of all, this survey, right? It's just a fuck all survey.
No, but when have we had good surveys? Come on, man. I don't remember one good survey where we all went, hey, this is a good thing.
Another finding was that residents in the West, including places such as Jurong, Tengah, Bukit Panjang and Choa Chu Kang, were less likely to be satisfied with their housing situation compared to those in the East.
Yeah.
56% of people in that area not happy with their housing.
Yeah. Okay. But I'm reading this line, there's like a sub-headline of this article you shared. It says, don't be jealous. Shanti Subramaniam, shout out to Shanti Subramaniam's flat in Jurong West offers an unobstructed view overlooking an empty field that has remained unchanged for over a decade. Wow. Her daughter is now living in a cooler neighborhood in Bukit Timah, but Shanti Subramaniam told AsiaOne she's not thinking about moving there. I like this area. It's a bit quiet and I don't have any problems with my neighbors. So guys, be happy like Shanti. You know what I mean? See?
But okay, so I mean, there have been discussions, like I think Leong Man Wai brought up in October, October 15, that the east side of Singapore is far better than the west side when it comes to rail connectivity. So that one, I think, I mean, I've never lived in the west. Yeah. But even if you look at the map, I think the east side is a lot more connected.
Yeah. I spent
So you got east side rail connectivity privilege, Rishi.
I do, and I recognize my privilege. I do, and I appreciate it, and I continue to work hard to try my best to earn it and do my best to try and be in a place that I would like to be. Having said that, I spent 4 years in NTU, bro. So there was a time where I was doing the west side.
You live on campus?
I lived on campus for 2 years. And it was, I mean, look, it wasn't the greatest. I mean, look, come on, I went to army for 2 years or so. And I spent a lot of time outside of the East, man. And I think it just makes you all the more grateful
for the East,
for the connectivity in the East. So here's a suggestion to all of those people who are not happy with where you are living. Okay, suggestion. Not everybody has the ability and time to do this, but go and spend time in other parts of the country where you think is supposedly better. For example, you always say the grass is always greener. So you are not happy in Kallang. Okay, go spend multiple hours and years and days. Spend some days in different parts of town, and I think what you will find, this has been my experience. What you will find is that actually a lot of the neighborhoods in Singapore are very similar. You have your self-contained neighborhood. For example, I grew up in Bedok. Right. So in Bedok, you got the market, wet market, you got the coffee shop with good food, you've got the bakery with, the Chinese auntie offering you hot dog buns, you've got Saturday mornings, you walk down the row of shop houses, you have some dude selling you a frying pan from Korea for $15, you have your nasi padang, you have everything, and if you go to different neighborhoods, you'll have the same. You'll have the Indian uncle cycling aimlessly, going to nowhere. You'll have another uncle coughing in the middle of the night. And only one of these neighborhoods is yours.
So every neighborhood is a good neighborhood.
That's what Chan Chun Sing will say.
Yeah.
If he was...
So you don't have a preference for where you would like to live in Singapore?
I cannot say I don't have a preference. I grew up in the East, and I did my best when I became someone who, as an adult, was in a position to decide where I want to live. I made that choice to try and continue living in the East within whatever means I had, right? So whether it was I can't afford to live in this area, or I don't prefer to live in this area. We work out what our finances and our jobs and everything allow us to live. But my preference was the East because it's where home has always been. I still go back to the neighborhood where I was born. I still go back to visit the basketball court where I played football. I still go back to say hello to the juice uncle who's now like 90 years old. And I used to buy...
Same juice uncle?
Same juice uncle, bro. I used to buy orange juice from him when I was a kid. Now he's got no teeth. And...
but still alive,
but he's still got the bite, bro. And sometimes I go and, I sit with my dad and we have a beer in the old coffee shop where I couldn't do that before because I was a kid. But now I'll sit in the old coffee shop with my father and we'll have a beer and we'll just talk about, oh man, yeah, this is, where you were born and all that. So I think there's some value in the history that you've got in the neighborhood that you've grown up in or lived in or have memories in. And I think if you figure out what that is or where that is, then you'll find a way to be happy. Like Shanti. Shanti will say, I don't want to. I'm in Jurong West. I'm happy. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I have an unobstructed view. My daughter is in Bukit Timah, but mine. I'm okay in Jurong West.
Yeah. I mean, I think these sort of surveys, they have its place. It's more interesting, if anything, but I just feel like, I don't know, I can't find the questions they ask in the survey, but it felt like, it's almost so general because even those areas, Hougang, Punggol, Sengkang and Serangoon sound like very different areas.
Yeah.
Because my wife grew up in Hougang. Right.
Which was a more mature estate.
Yeah, it's a very mature estate. Sengkang is very new.
Sengkang, Punggol are very new.
So it's almost saying like the Northeast is and highlighting that as the least satisfied. Yeah, I'm just curious why they ran this survey and what they were hoping to get out of it.
Don't know. I mean, but can you remember one survey that's been done in the past 10 years that you went this is useful?
That's why normally they are our second topic, the less serious topic.
I don't know, but yeah.
This kind of surveys, it's just funny. Then, of course, you get some people online saying, of course, the survey will show Hougang is not the best place to live in because opposition.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know. That's some chatter I saw online. Especially because WP just released the Hougang documentary.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet.
I haven't watched it. Okay, well, and this is taking nothing away from those professional research companies who do this for, that's their job. And there's been, decades of analysis and improving the way they do these things and trying to make sure the sample size is representative of the entire nation. Fair. I get that, the communication research angle of it is important. But I've always struggled to understand and see how to accurately find 1,000 people to represent accurately. How accurate? What was the accuracy of the survey? You know what I mean? I always find, and because I trained in a communications degree, and we had some information about how some of the CR work was done. I was like, really? Is it really representative of the nation? I don't know sometimes. I always I'm always a little bit skeptical about these survey results. So I don't know, man. When I hear these things, I always take it with a little bit of pinch of salt. Because, I'm sure there's a bunch of Hougang people who are going like, whoa, hey.
What is people shitting on Hougang?
How come they never ask me? I'm really happy,
No, but if I ask you, if I didn't tell you the results of the survey, I didn't send you the article, and I asked you to guess which place in Singapore do you think the people are most unsatisfied in?
Wow. man, okay, because I haven't lived in many of these areas, but I would not have definitely thought like Serangoon or whatever. Because Serangoon Central, whatever time I've spent in the Central specifically, it's super connected, super convenient. I mean, I used to go to, like I said, my in-laws' place. It's near St. Gabriel's Secondary, around the area, Serangoon Central, Serangoon Avenue 1. And then it's near Serangoon MRT. There's Next Mall there. There's, like good eating places in Lorong Lulian. Some good chicken rice around the area. You go to Upper Paya Lebar. There's like good prawn meat. So I would be very surprised. Hougang, I didn't spend much time in, so I can't say. If I had to fathom a guess, I would have said something more in the Bukit Panjang or Choa Chu Kang side. No hate to you guys, I don't mind me, but that's what I sometimes hear in terms of connectivity. Because, for example, I had to visit a friend in Bukit Panjang, right? And you have to go MRT, then LRT, and the LRTs, there's always complaints about how crowded it is or how slow it is. And if I have to take an MRT, LRT to my house, it takes me this 90 minutes to commute and damn out of the way and all that. So that's what I've been exposed to. So I would have been less surprised if it was that region, in all frankness.
I would actually have guessed Sengkang or Punggol.
Yeah?
Sengkang. Because it feels like it is one of the newer estates. And I think where people talk about standard of living, is the sentimentality plays a big part, where you grew up. But I think Sengkang, I can't remember when the first flats were built there.
Yeah.
It feels still fairly new. Like the nostalgia factor is less. Like, you said that juice uncle, Sengkang, I don't know, I would imagine, and also because it is far out.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Hougang Serangoon thing, like to cluster all that together, a bit weird. But as like what you said, this kind of service, sometimes also you're like, why are you doing this survey?
Maybe to, I don't know, maybe it's
to give us something to talk about.
Property market thing, like, hey, property price going down, let's figure out why. Sometimes there's those things going on.
But yeah, man, cool.
Yes.
Now, I mean, we do have our final segment.
Oh, yeah.
The one Shiok thing.
Yes.
You remember, you've been on the
podcast. I do. Of course. I wanted to share
something. Okay, before we... No, that one can come later.
That's fine.
Yeah, the one Shiok thing. You have yours or you want me to...
Hey, you go first, Ken, then I'll tell you.
Okay, Ken.
Mine.
So my one Shiok thing is this work by these two Australian mathematicians. Because have you heard of this one theory called the infinite monkey theorem?
Wow. I don't know.
It is the thought experiment that's been used to talk about probability and randomness. It's basically, have you ever heard someone, if you give a group of monkeys typewriters each,
oh yes,
in long enough a time, they will write the entire work of Shakespeare.
Yes.
So these two mathematicians,
there was a play about this that I once did.
That you did?
That I acted in. Yeah.
What was it about?
Oh man, it was exactly based on this theory. Let me find the name of the play for you. It was a short play. Okay, you tell me more. I'll tell you what this is. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, these two mathematicians have done research to show that while it is mathematically true, the probability means that them writing the plays, sonnets, and poems of Shakespeare would be longer than the lifespan of our universe.
Wow.
So they say it's a bit misleading. So why is my one Shiok thing? Is because the fact that researchers actually spend time on this.
Right.
Quite interesting.
That's insane, bro. I'm trying to find this.
It's okay, Rishi.
Maybe we'll find.
You don't need to cannibalize my one Shiok thing.
No, but that's damn good because I remember
the play,
learning about it because of this play.
Yeah. So basically, if you break it down to the numbers, right?
Yeah.
There's a 5% chance that a single chimp would successfully type the word bananas in his own life.
Oh, wow.
And the probability of one chimp constructing a random sentence such as I chimp, therefore I am, comes in at 1 in 10 million billion.
Shish kebabs.
Yeah. So basically, it would happen. It will not happen before the universe dies.
Okay. Man.
Rishi,
so it's not real.
Yeah.
It's not real. It won't happen.
I mean, it was never real. It was just a theorem.
Yeah.
But they basically said the theorem is misleading.
It's bothering me now. I can't remember the play.
It's okay, man. You have your one Shiok Thing or not?
Yeah. Hey, I don't know if you've heard of this before, but there's a soup kitchen I want to tell everybody about. That's cool. Is this place called, I don't know, I don't think I've shared this on the
Maybe
podcast before.
Yeah.
It's a place called Krishna's Free Meals in Little India. So I do a bit of volunteer work there. And essentially, they offer vegetarian meals to anyone who comes by. Not so. What you do, you can put as much as you want, and you get packets of meals. I think they do it on every day except one of the days. So if you ever are in the area, look up Krishna's KRSNAS free meals. We have something coming up there. Again, so every few months I'll try to do like a bit of a shout out and a bit of a drive with them where I personally go down with either my family or whatever. We go there and either they don't let me cook because I'm not very good at it, but you can volunteer to whatever chop vegetables or help them in the kitchen if you've got some aptitude, or you can just be someone serving meals or packing the boxes. It's very rewarding. They do a lot of hard work, and majority of the people that come by are actually those migrant workers who are living in the area or working in the area. And there's 2 sessions. There's one early in the morning, there's one lunchtime. So if you have time to donate or volunteer, I highly recommend checking out Krishna's Free Meals.
Krishna.
KRS. I mean, KRS?
KRIS.
No I.
Oh, no I. Oh.
Yes. We can put it in the link.
Yeah. We'll put it in the show notes.
So it's on Veerasamy Road. KRSNA_S Free Meals.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Most people go there and they make like a 50-cent donation or what lah. Even those migrant workers, they go there and then they just put in something if they have, but nobody is obligated or forced to do it.
Oh, but you can go there and volunteer. You can also donate online.
Yes, you can. There is ways to donate online. They've got constant drives going on if you go to their website. There will be one coming up with us, but we haven't launched that yet.
I
won't say yet. But I did one last year. We did 2 last year actually. One for my wife's birthday, and then one more we did as the end of the year thing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
Rewarding stuff and good stuff. And the food is actually damn good lah.
Oh, is it?
So if you go there and you want to get a meal of your own and you pay for it, you can do that also.
Oh, cool. Okay, so that we can put in the show notes. You also have one more thing that you wanted to share. Maybe you can tell people where they can find you and what is this thing that you're working on.
Okay, so this year I'm working with Comchest, where they had this dude called the Sharity elephant. I don't know, some of
who
you,
we all grew up with.
Yeah.
But the younger generation might not know.
The guy is basically his elephant is the mascot of sharing is caring.
Tristen, do you know Sharity? No. Yeah. Oh, you know?
Share lah. You
Sharity
share lah.
Charity elephant.
Charity elephant. So I'm a small part of this campaign this year called Sharity Reimagined. Basically driving the message across to people that there are various causes that are underfunded and there are various groups of people that are underprivileged and they do need some support. My cause is for families in need. So if you go out we'll put a link here. There's a giving.sg link where I'm raising funds for families in need in association with Comchest this year. And I had to give my artistic version of painting the Sharity elephant, part of the whole campaign of reimagining
what Sharity elephant.
So you can go check out my design.
Wow, solid.
Some people call it lazy. I call it art. But I think it's quite cool. I think it's got a nice golden tinge to it.
Wow, doing a lot of good for the world, Rishi.
No lah. Just when I have some opportunity to, and if it's causes that mean something to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not gonna not all of us can lend all our time and effort to every cause, but I think if everybody picks one thing that they care about or they're passionate about, then you just try to make the world a better place, man. And
awesome.
Then we can focus our energies on doing good rather than complaining, whining about wow, my house lousy area lah, my train not here lah, my But we do our best. I think that's most important.
And where can people find you for your other?
Hey,
other
go
stuff?
on whatever social medias in Instagram or TikTok or whatever, Facebook at Rishi Budhrani. My name is spelled in the show notes.
Nice.
You'll find me there. Thank you very much, man.
But cool. Thanks for coming, Rishi.
Thanks for having me, man.
And we'll probably see you back soon at some point again, lah.
Sure. When you need a stand-in, when the two main stars of the podcast are not in the country at the same time.
We came for your show, lah. Okay.
I appreciate it, lah.
Yeah. How many shows?
The two main stars are not around. Only one of us is around. Then we call this backup guy. No, man, I'm happy to be here. Always
solid, man.
Yeah, and we can make fun of more people.
Exactly.
Yeah. Don't feel bad about making fun of people, okay?
Yeah. Exactly.
Because people are making fun of us as we speak right now.
Exactly. Right. Comments. Yeah.
People going like, these two losers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go back to our village.
Go back to our village. Just because.
What's the village called again?
We have to go to Ulhasnagar in Bombay.
Which is West Indies.
Refugee camp for Sindhis back in the war partition.
Yeah.
Back in the partition. Sorry, not the war.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Remember to follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, link, Twitter, TikTok, and Reddit. And check out all the links in the show notes. And we'll talk to you all soon.